What I love about Anchor is that it's given me creative control of my own material. I was approached by a big company to do a podcast about the art world, and I didn't want to sign over all rights to them. Anchor has allowed me to make this podcast and to keep creative control as well as financial control in terms of advertising. Anchor gives you everything you need in one place for free. You can use it on your phone or your computer. There are tools that help you to upload your recordings that you've done separately or on the app. They'll distribute it for you as well, which again, I couldn't wrap my mind around distribution, and they have it all there for you in one place: Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, and many more. You can easily make money from it as well. They help you advertise. As you can see right now, I'm getting my first ad out through Anchor. And all you have to do is download the app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Good luck with your podcast and getting your voice out there and owning your content. Louisa St Pierre has a long history in the creative field, working as an agent with other designers and illustrators, as well as creating her own work for clients across the world. Louisa recently spoke to me about her plans for the future, and I think it will be inspiring for everyone to hear her story. Thanks for joining us again on the Bees and Honey podcast. I'm good. I just had a few technical difficulties this morning, so it's just makes me a little nervous. But I can't control everything, so I guess I should relax.
I know, it's very annoying not being able to control everything, isn't it?
Especially for control freaks like myself. Anyway, nothing like a pandemic to tell you you're not in control.
Yeah, I think we're in agreement there.
So tell me what you've been working on recently, because I didn't know that you left BA Reps.
Yeah, so I mean, it's sort of funny, isn't it? I've been there for 22 years, if you include my
Wow.
time with the affiliate agency, the Central Illustration Agency in London.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty dreamy, actually. I mean, really quite an amazing job in the sense that it was a very established and well-structured company.
Mm-hmm.
The two founders, Tony Andriuli and Howard Bernstein,
Mm-hmm.
really gave everybody sort of, as much rope as they
Mm-hmm.
liked. Which
Mm-hmm.
for kind of quite self-directed entrepreneurial types like me was just amazing because, I could really explore all sorts of new avenues and take a lot of risks that I think you probably couldn't in most companies. And it kind of happened to work out, really. So I think largely dictated by the fact that illustration and design are such incredibly versatile media.
Mm-hmm.
That's really about kind of visual problem solving. It can take you down a lot of different avenues, whether that's sort of XR, so kind of immersive VR and
Mm-hmm.
augmented
Mm-hmm.
reality and stuff, or gaming, or product
Mm-hmm.
design. So I kind of ended up doing a lot of things there and really diversifying the company, which I think
Mm-hmm.
is why I stayed for so long, because
Mm-hmm.
there was always something new to be done. And then I ran
Yes.
the holding company for a while when we were acquired with a great leadership team. And that was good as well,
Mm-hmm.
because that taught me quite a bit about the business side of things and how to work with financial people and investors, and also gave me, a very clear window into the worlds of the sister companies. So, Streeters did
Wonderful.
beauty, CLM was very
Mm-hmm.
strong on fashion photography,
Mm-hmm.
and there was licensing at Trunk Archive and gallery stock and so on. So I got, just a wealth of information. But then I
Yes.
also realised that, oh wow, okay, I'm in my just in my late 40s.
Yes.
And I should probably try and do something else. And then
Mhm.
also, I'd kind of got into the habit of working longish hours. And my kids suddenly were 7 and 10. And I thought, you know what, I actually want to take a little bit of time out and enjoy them before they turn into teenagers and they hate me.
Right. Well, that too, yes.
They still quite like me at the moment. Um, so to answer
Yes.
your question, I am taking 6 months out,
Mm-hmm.
and which weirdly coincided almost exactly to the coronavirus escalation. It's a little spooky. And I was planning to hang with the kids, help my husband make a really amazing feature film that he's
Mm-hmm.
doing, literally by being an extra or a producer or crowd wrangler, whatever he needed,
Mm-hmm.
and doing art and stuff with the kids. So dictated by Eva, age 10, and Isabel, age 7. We're writing and
Right.
illustrating a book about a pretentious swan called Juliet,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
a panda called Pop Tart, and a
Mm-hmm.
turtle with questionable dress sense, and a very large wardrobe full of garish capes that they discover can fly.
Well, that sounds like an amazing project, and I think I love that your time coincided with this. So it's almost prescient that you decided this was the time to take that 6 month
Yeah,
hiatus.
it's really weird, but it's sort of when I kind of think about the macro implications of this.
Mm-hmm.
I was already mentally prepared for it in many ways. I mean, nobody's prepared quite for the the scale of what's
Right. Yeah.
happened, but
Yeah.
in terms
Yeah.
of my lifestyle choice.
Mm-hmm.
But in all the conversations I've had with friends, and there are founders and owners of major tech companies through to people who have cottage industries.
Mm-hmm.
I think people have been through a level of panic, and then sort of a little bit of acceptance. And now
Mm-hmm.
people are starting to see the silver linings. And I mean, it's
Yes.
all the emotions all the time, and it can be different on any given day. But
Mm-hmm.
generally, you look at the sort of ramifications for sustainability and the climate. Well, already the lack of commuting has a
Mm-hmm.
huge upside. The
Right.
fact that families, get to spend more time together. I mean, in some instances that isn't working out so well. But
Well, yeah, it probably isn't working out because there's no model for it. There's no basis in the past of how that relationship would be. So probably don't have that firm foundation.
right, yeah, yeah.
I mean, mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, just for people like me, working mums, having all of this wonderful time with the kids, and I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I'm very lucky in that we have a nanny as well, so I'm dipping
Mm-hmm.
into the homeschooling. It's not solely lying on my shoulders.
Oh,
Um,
thank God.
yeah. Oh my goodness, it's really intense.
I feel for all those older children. I mean, my son is only 4 and it's intense with him. And like my friend said, he's not studying rocket science, so I can't imagine for the older kids how difficult it must be.
Yeah, wow. I mean, even just the sort of digital systems of logging into Google Classroom and ClassKick and making sure you're
Mm-hmm.
submitting all of the assignments online and stuff. But I mean, these are real world skills that arguably they
True,
wouldn't have to learn age 7 and
true.
10, and it helps their kind of executive function and stuff. But
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. I didn't think of that, but it's real world skills. Correct.
yeah,
But tell me, because I only recently found out that you're doing illustration as well. How would you describe your illustration style? Because I only saw one piece and it reminded me of stuff that's sort of Art Deco. It had a sort of
yeah.
1920s feel about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I love the 1920s. So when Downton Abbey came out, I was completely in my element. And I own actually quite a lot of vintage flapper dresses and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But, um, yeah, I kind of have two styles actually. One hilariously was developed for the sex column for the Times in London,
Mm-hmm.
which I illustrated for a while, which is a sort of quicker black and white style, which is what you saw. So quite
Mm-hmm.
linear, fairly figurative,
Mm-hmm.
and definitely with an Art Deco influence of Aubrey Beardsley,
Mm-hmm.
Gustav Klimt. And then
Mm-hmm.
I have a much more laborious, equally as detail orientated style that's
Mm-hmm.
mixed media, gouache and collage, and that's
Mm-hmm.
very sort of jewel like, and a little bit influenced by Byzantine art, but
Mm-hmm.
also the pop artists, Peter Blake as well, in terms of colour palette and collage and some of the subject matter, which is popular culture.
Right.
But yeah, I sort of I was a full on illustrator as well as agent for many years,
Mm-hmm.
and then when the kids came along, I really kind of put that on the back burner because you actually can't do everything. I discovered.
Right. I know, but we try.
But I really love it, and for me, it's kind of like meditation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's lovely seeing all these artists putting colouring books online for adults and kids alike to print out in colour. But
Mm-hmm.
essentially, I always described myself as a colouring inner as opposed to an
Right.
illustrator.
Right. 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 Right.
So it's been quite nice colouring in with the kids.
Yes. And I know some of the artists that you've worked with as an agent. Would you say that you both have influenced each other in terms of your style? I don't know. When you said collage and stuff, I thought of Stephen Bliss because he has several different styles as well. One of them is sort of collage and mixed media.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think when you have a sort of level of friendship or intimacy or
Mm-hmm.
professional admiration, and usually
Mm-hmm.
that goes both ways, it's fairly synergistic with
Mm-hmm.
agents and artists, one would hope.
Mm-hmm. One would hope, yeah.
Just sort of by osmosis, because you're
Mm-hmm.
so invested in their work and their processes,
Mm-hmm.
that I think that it really naturally rubs off. And then, of course,
Mm-hmm.
they're constantly asking your opinion about
Mm-hmm.
their work, either the aesthetics or
Mm-hmm.
the mechanics of it or how
Mm-hmm.
that's being applied to the marketplace. So, yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the privileges of the job as well. I mean, how amazing that you get to work with all these phenomenal talents.
So, what were some of your favorite projects or collaborations that you worked on, or are working on, or plan to work on in the future? Some
Yeah,
clients,
again, gosh, there are probably
so
two that
many.
stand out. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the first book that I was ever commissioned to illustrate was called In Search of the Spirit, and it was really a journey of world religions and sort of, I guess, inquisitiveness about the more cerebral spiritual nature of things.
Mm-hmm.
And that was commissioned by a chap called Roger Walton, who was
Mm-hmm.
an amazing designer. He went to the Royal College. He was then head of Duncan Baird Publishing. And I think I probably worked on the book for about a year.
Mm-hmm.
Publishing, the deadlines are fairly relaxed, so it's very civilized.
Mm-hmm.
But Roger was just such a mine of information and so gracious. And I got to know his family, his wife, his two kids who are now grown up. And we
Mm-hmm.
went on holiday to Tuscany, and we still keep in touch.
Mm-hmm.
He lives in the UK still. Well, I'm in New York. And then another amazing creative director called Craig Smith, who was at BBH, which my husband was at as well.
Mm-hmm.
He independently worked with Fiat 500, which is my favourite car. And he hired me as sort of a project manager and an agent and a curator to
Mm-hmm.
get 10 illustrators to create just beautiful artworks on various themes. And I was one of the illustrators chosen by him, not
Mm-hmm.
self-elected. Um, and I didn't realise, but there was a huge media buy behind it. So a lot of out of home media.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and my illustration was painted on a big wall on the side of a building in Soho that's now exclusively reserved for Gucci ads. So it's a really famous wall. There's a lot of foot traffic. And
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize, literally, I was walking in Soho and was like, oh, wow, there's my illustration. So that was pretty amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, I think probably those two, and I'm probably excluding some amazing things. Oh, actually, there was one for NatWest Bank, which was a person-sized advent calendar
Mm-hmm.
with a point of sale in the banks,
Mm-hmm.
and you could literally open the little windows on each day, and there would be, some treat behind them. So that was pretty fun as well. And my dad's got one in his house
Well,
to this day.
that's amazing. You know, that's what I love about this work that you do because it really engages with the public on so many levels. And sometimes we're not even aware of it, but it probably gets a lot further than so-called fine art that's it's in this sort of rarefied atmosphere from gallery to home or who knows where else it ends up after it leaves the artist studio. I
Yeah.
mean, I like that. It's sort of democratic.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a dialogue about commercial work versus fine art, and then you sort of these days it's fairly acceptable to have brands as your modern day Medici's, as
Mm-hmm.
long as the artist is given enough autonomy
Mm-hmm.
to be really sort of relevant and authentic to their vision, as it were. And
Right.
actually, the aforementioned Sir Peter Blake, the pop artist, has a very strong opinion about this.
Mm-hmm.
It's all image making, and it's all communication.
Mm-hmm.
With the commercial work, there are more parameters and a very specific purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And then with fine art, there are still parameters and a purpose, but they're just set by the artist or the commissioning patron.
Right.
So he doesn't really differentiate so much.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I personally like parameters,
Me too.
and when I'm working on fine art, I set myself parameters. I don't really go on this sort of stream of consciousness journey.
Right. Yes, yes, yes. Well, I really admire the way you've been able to balance all the elements and, like you said, not just stay in one area, but discover how the whole system works. I think that's a really a great thing to have accomplished in life in general.
Thank
But
you.
what are your plans for the future after these 6 months with the kids and working at home? And let's assume that we'll get back to going to our normal, whatever that means,
My
work
new
environment,
normal.
our new normal. What do you think your work will look like? How will it impact the clients or the number of people you have to work with? I don't know.
Well, so I am also very gently trying to look at art and commerce in an oblique way.
Mm-hmm.
So I will be launching an agency that's quite different from anything else that's out there in the marketplace. Without saying too much, it will
Mm-hmm.
certainly be disciplinary,
Mm-hmm.
but it will be multi-purpose as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
a number of different elements that are really useful to artists and to
Mm-hmm.
clients alike,
Mm-hmm.
all in one space. So I'm quite excited about that. Um, and sort of being autonomous but highly networked.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is going to become a lot of people's new normals because as indeed the workplace has changed
Mm-hmm.
and people are on reduced hours or this remote working. I think
Mm-hmm.
people are going to address um, revenue driving, if that's the way you want to call it. in
Right.
markedly different ways, realizing that actually there are methods that create more efficiencies,
Mm-hmm.
or are better for the planet, or, actually, do you need to go into the office every day?
Right.
Or would a 3 or 4 sort of day work week in the office make more sense, because actually you can be more productive at home?
Yes.
So, I think these are all of the questions that are going to be thrown up,
Yeah. Do you
and
need a
people will
40-hour work week?
absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you might actually find that you're more productive if you
Mm-hmm.
work less hours.
Mm-hmm.
And this is,
Mm-hmm.
this is not new news, but I think
Mm-hmm.
just the reality of having it kind of enforced will
Yes.
make people explore the different options and hopefully be pleasantly surprised.
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, I'm looking at the positive side of things too. In terms of the art world, one of my girlfriend recently stopped working at Sotheby's when they were acquired by this Mr. Drahi guy, and she
Yeah.
is similarly like you, couldn't have been better because she left before she was forced to leave by this whole coronavirus thing.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to add? I don't know if I covered everything that you're working on, but I mean, if there's something particularly you wanted to mention.
No, other than, my sincere wish is, obviously, painfully aware of the atrocity of people getting sick and how that's
Mm-hmm,
affecting families and death and the
mm-hmm,
socioeconomic ramifications.
mm-hmm,
I really hope that people can see the silver lining and the positive side,
mm-hmm,
and they can, tame that fear that can creep up,
mm-hmm,
and just keep coming back to the present and trying to see this time as a real gift to reconnect, spend that extra hour or two that you're not commuting, doing something that's really enriching for you, all those who surround you, even if
mm-hmm.
it's your cat. I've got a very beautiful grey cat staring at me at the moment. Just wondering what I'm up to. Why is mummy talking to herself?
Right.
Um,
And if people wanted to find you, where would they find you now that you're launching this new enterprise?
well, it won't happen until September, but
Uh-huh.
I do have a new email address,
Mm-hmm.
which is lsp
Mm-hmm.
at louisastpierre.com.
Mm-hmm.
And the website will be just my name, louisastpierre.com. So,
Perfect.
yeah, and I'll be part of a bigger network as well, but more on that soon.
Good, good. Well, I'm really happy to hear that everything's moving along, not necessarily smoothly, but in a positive direction. And I can't wait to see the girls again. I mean, I haven't seen them for years, and I still thought they were the age I last saw them at. But yeah, they are growing.
They are, and they're an absolute delight, actually. I mean,
Yes.
that's another sort of privilege in life that's, it's incredibly hard work, but
Mm-hmm.
my goodness, just
Mm-hmm.
amazing to see these human beings grow up into fine young people.
Absolutely. And good luck with the film. I hope you do some good supporting of your partner.
Ah, yes, it's called Ophelia,
Mm-hmm.
and it's quite an esoteric little number, as one would expect from Steve.
Yes, well, say hi to him for me and definitely keep me posted. I'm going to look for your Instagram because I haven't really been following you there, but I should.
Well, Steve's web address is
Mm-hmm.
shadowrunner.industries, and you'll discover all sorts of weirdness there.
Well, I'll definitely look for Ophelia, that's for sure. Maybe I will speak to him sometime too on the podcast.
Yeah, I'll get him to reach out.
Okay, take
All right,
care.
my dear, an absolute pleasure chatting with you as ever.
Yeah, and I'll be in
And
touch after we hang up.
brilliant. All
Okay,
right,
take care.
bye for now.
Bye. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Bees and Honey podcast. Please stay tuned for some more exciting content in the coming weeks. Thanks and stay well.